winners? Let the pros show you how to make money. General Manager Al DeMarco, a regular contributor on Fox Sports, MSNBC, and Comcast Sports TV, brings over 25 years of handicapping experience to the table. CEO Steve Budin, the author of Bets, Drugs, and Rock and Roll, is the man responsible for creating the online betting industry. Together, they lead PickNation.com, your #1 source for winners.
Hi, everyone. Al DeMarco here along with Steve Budin, and this is the Pick Nation Report. And I'm telling you, Steve, right now we have to change our theme music perhaps to the Baha Men.
Right.
That horrible, horrible song, Who Let the Dogs Out? Because
Who Let the Dogs Out? Woo, woo. That one?
I didn't want you to do the rendition on the.
I didn't get your note on that.
I think half the audience. I think half the audience just abandoned this.
I'll do it again if you want me to do it.
No, that's good.
Okay,
That's good.
Right.
It's his birthday today. He's
That's
a little bit of celebrating mood here today. But the problem is the NFL Dogs, 8 times in 10 weeks so far this year, they have had the advantage. Last week, no difference whatsoever. Again, the puppies ruling the roost in Vegas. And guys, that's bad news because when the dogs are barking, generally the gambling public losing money. 20 games over 500 the dogs are. Here we are going into week number 11 of the season. I've been a professional handicapper, Steve, for 25 years. You know, I've said this before. I have never seen underdogs have this long of a sustained run at the beginning of the season. Sometimes you'll see in the mid part of the season, they'll, capture 3 weeks in a row or 5 out of 6 or 7. But 8 out of 10 to start the season, that's why people are losing their shirts.
And it's actually really good for us because when people are losing their shirts, they're seeking advice. And when they're seeking advice, hey, we're in business. And, it's funny because with all the underdogs winning, still found a way to find a favorite on Sunday, cashed in with the Jets. And by the way, that's 3 winning NFL weeks in a row for me now. Also got the winner on Saturday. Also had the winner on Monday. Hey, Al, I hate to say it, but I'm back, baby. I am back.
As you know, I just mentioned, I've been a professional sports handicapper for 25 years. Coming to this NFL and college football season with 8 straight winning football seasons under my belt. I use my experience as a former sports reporter, a guy who was on the field, in the locker rooms. When I analyze games, I break down the teams according to the personnel, and that's what gives me the edge as a handicapper. Steve, of course, not only red hot, but understand, it's not Steve as a handicapper who was hot. Steve is a former bookmaker, probably one of the biggest in the world, the guy who literally created what we now know as the offshore sports book industry. And with you, it all comes down to your contacts and your sources that you've cultivated over 20 years in this business.
Right, so over 20 years, I've learned as a former bookmaker who to take a bet from, but more importantly, who not to take a bet from. And it's those people that I bring to the table now as a handicapper. They used to be my foes. Now, they're my partners in crime. So, I mean, it's an interesting way to do it. No one else can do it that way because they don't have the access. They don't have the contacts. They didn't spend 20 or 25 years on top of the offshore sportsbook industry like me. So putting him to use now, and it's working.
And as you said, 3-0 sweep last weekend for your sources. 4 straight NFL winners, cashing in with Philadelphia. How easy was that one? Don't you wish every game, guys, could be as easy as the Eagles were on Monday night? That, of course, being said, that you weren't on the Redskins and you were humiliated by the end of the first quarter. You were just kissing your money goodbye. Hey, we've got to break down every single game on today's card. We've got some money-saving offers for you. Free day of service at PickNation.com. We're going to talk about that as well. But first, let's head to the phones where Evan from Los Angeles is going to be joining us. Hi, Evan. How you doing?
Hey, good, Professor. How you doing?
Good. Hey, which game did you want to talk about today?
Professor, I wanted to know that Pat's Colts game, head-to-head, how it looks with Brady and Manning. Who holds the lead there?
Let me take this one a little bit because I've been looking at this game. By the way, this is Steve-O. Look, Indianapolis, they've shown me a lot this year from the heart department. I mean, they're battling a lot of injuries. They're doing what they need to do to get crucial wins. It ain't pretty for them, but they're doing it. New England, on the other hand, they bounced back with the big win against the Steelers. We talked about it in the show last week about how you never, go against Belichick, after a loss, especially at home. And, while I don't think that Indy is the same team on the road that they are at home. And I think at the end of the day, that's going to be the difference here, that home team advantage. And they've got these teams equal because New England's a 3-point favorite. And when the home team's a 3-point favorite, the odds makers are pretty much saying that these two teams on a neutral field would be equal. I happen to agree with them, but I give a little bit of an advantage to New England because of the home field. I'm going to, not a game that I'll be betting. It's one of the better games on the board. I'll be watching it. But if I had a gun to my head, I would lay the 3 points with New England.
Last year when these two met in Indianapolis, I had one of my biggest plays of the season. You remember, that was the Bill Belichick. I suddenly got dumb for 1 minute and decided to go for it on fourth down at like the 28-yard line, his 28-yard line. And naturally, the Patriots didn't make the first down. Indianapolis gets the ball. They rally from a 17-point deficit in the fourth quarter, and they walk away with a 1-point win. The Patriots got the cover, so I was happy. But clearly, that plays into this game. I just wonder here, a couple of dynamics to think about. One, Patriots last week were sky high, as you said, after being humiliated by the Cleveland Browns, of all things. I mean, they just took the Pittsburgh Steelers out to the shed for you-know-what whooping. Mm-hmm. Can they possibly get up for this type of game after playing the Steelers on the road? Yes, it's a big revenge game, but it's hard for teams to get up 2 straight weeks. And the other thing, when you look at the matchups here, Patriots pass defense, absolutely pathetic, guys. New England, 30th in the league against the pass. Well, Peyton's not coming to give the ball to Donald Brown or Mike Hartley or whatever running back happens to be healthy this week 30 times in this game. They're giving up, the Patriots, 68, almost 69% completions this year. And they don't have much of a pass rush. They got 5 sacks last week of Ben Roethlisberger. I think that gives them 17 on the year in 9 games. So, Peyton already works behind one of the best offensive lines in the business, already gets rid of the ball quickly. You might want to look at the over maybe. I was just
about to mention it. Is that a trap at 50.5? Because what happens at 50.5 is one slow quarter and you're done. There's no coming back from it. And when you bet a total that's 50 or more, you're pretty much saying that these teams are going to be lighting it up for the entire game. No sleepy quarters, no going to sleep. It's going to be total up and down the field.
Okay, let's go back to the phones now. Thanks, Evan, for your call. We've got Mike from Oxon Hill, Maryland.
Yeah.
Is it Mike or Micah?
Micah.
Micah,
Hey, Micah.
How you doing?
All right.
So what game did you want to touch on today?
Seattle Seahawks.
Seattle. Wow, you like the Seahawks for a second straight week here, even though they're on the...
Right, Seattle's on the road at New Orleans. New Orleans a big 12-point favorite coming off the bye. And one thing I wanted to mention is, because the byes really play into handicapping. When you see certain teams coming off a bye. And it's not a given. You can't say, oh, well, this team is going to be great off a bye because all teams are great off byes. They're not. And I think there's an edge to veteran teams coming off a bye, because a veteran team, like the ex-Super Bowl champion New Orleans Saints, they know how to really use a bye. They understand the dynamics of a bye. They know the downsides. They know the upsides, and I think they use it to the best of their ability. I think that's a big advantage for New Orleans. Seattle, we know, not the best road team. A lot of people scared to lay the wood here, not me. I think New Orleans gets the win. They get the cover, and I think they actually blow this team out.
Well, let me ask you, Micah, you're a regular caller to the program, and you have a good opinion. I mean, that much I know from listening and taking your past calls. Who do you like in the game? Do you like Seattle coming off that big, well, I guess you have to call it an upset win last week. They absolutely hammered Arizona. It was an easy win, and Matt Hasselbeck had like a 333-yard passing game. Or do you agree with Steve and you lay the points with the Saints?
No, I think you lay the points with the Saints. He made a good point. I mean, I'm really a die-hard Washington Redskins fan. So
my condolences, Micah.
Mea culpa.
Yeah, so I agree with Steve. He made a great point. I mean, Seattle, they went on the road and beat Chicago the other week, so it's kind of up in the air. But definitely, I think New Orleans probably will blow them out.
Well, let me ask you. You brought up the bad news Bears. They're in the Redskins, so I have to ask you. Washington getting 7 today at Tennessee on the road, off a short week, off one of the all-time worst Monday night performances in the history of the sport. Do they have any chance today, Micah?
I'm not buying Mike Shanahan at this point. I'm not.
I'm
sorry.
Neither is Donovan McNabb, in case you haven't noticed.